Hi, my name is Jennifer and welcome to the Zen or Mobile Yoga YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing an all levels yoga class. This is just going to be a well-rounded practice for you that you can turn to anytime. We'll be making sure to take it really slow, connecting with our breath, and at the end we're going to do a 5-minute Shavasana or relaxation period. You might want to have a small folded blanket and maybe a yoga block or a really thick book for this practice, especially if you're tight anywhere from the hips down. And last of all, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the shirt I'm wearing. Zen or Mobile Yoga is an ambassador with Yoga and Body Image Coalition. So what that company does is they've been building a movement to kind of smash stereotypes and promote body acceptance. I will give the information in the comments below, but go ahead and check them out. Follow them out on Instagram. It's something that I really believe in. They use the hashtag what a yogi looks like, and we know that that could be very diverse. So go ahead and check them out. I'll see you on the mat. We're going to begin an easy pose. So just sit with your legs crossed. You can sit on a block or your thick book, putting that underneath the sitting bones, or you can just use a folded up blanket. If you have tight hips, this is going to help elevate the hips a little bit in order to get the pelvis to tilt forward. So sit comfortably with your hands on your knees. And begin to breathe. Relax the shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades together and down towards the tailbone. Soften the belly. Relax the muscles in the face. Release the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And as you inhale, think new energy. And as you exhale, release any tension in the muscles. Continuing to breathe slow and steady. Connecting with the mat, connecting with the breath. And then think about an intention you may want to set for your practice today. Maybe just to be open-minded, to listen to your body, to not judge yourself. Remember, you don't have to do these poses perfectly. I promise the yoga police will not come knocking at your door. Take another breath or two here. And on your last exhalation, go ahead and open the eyes. Remove anything that you may be sitting on, and then lie down on your back. We're going to start out with supine pigeon, so just lie down on your back. You're going to take your right ankle, place it on your left knee. The left foot will be flat on the mat. Take your hands, interlace the fingers behind the left thigh, and then draw the left knee up to the chest. In yoga, we flex the feet. So go ahead and press out through the ball mound of the big toes, spread the toes. This engages the muscles, grounds the femurs. Some of you might be able to draw your knee closer to the chest than others, or maybe you're not bringing the leg as close as you'd like to. Just bring it to where your body tells you to stop and take a few breaths there. We're looking for a gentle stretch here. We don't want to overstretch. Take one more breath here. And then slowly bring the left foot back down to the mat, and we'll do the other side. Bring the right foot down, left ankle to the right knee, interlace the fingers behind the right leg, and draw that right knee up to the chest. Flex the feet. And take a few breaths here. Find the breath. You can still keep your eyes closed to help you focus inward. Relax the shoulders towards the mat. And kind of notice what you're doing with your face muscles as well. Maybe you're crunching your eyebrows or pursing your lips. Be sure to soften those muscles in the face. Carry the breath to where you're feeling the tightness. It should be, or most likely will be, in the back of the leg. I shouldn't say should be. It'll be wherever your body needs the stretch. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, bring the right foot and then the left foot down. We're going to do a twist before we come onto hands and knees. So bring your arms out to the sides of the body, kind of like an airplane. Your palms can be facing the ceiling to help the shoulders touch the mat. And then we're going to lift the pelvis and just shift it over to the left and drop it. And then we're going to drop our knees to the right, coming into a twist. And here, just to go into a full spinal twist, you can look over the left fingertips. Begin to find your breath. Let the left shoulder weigh down onto the mat. And then your knees, let them be heavy. So coming into a twist, we're really helping out the digestive system, kind of wringing out the organs, if you will, helping with the detox process, or just massaging the organs. So after a big meal, or if you're having troubles with your digestive system, twists are always a good place to go. Take one more breath here. And on your exhalation, bring the knees back to center, bring the pelvis back to center, and then we'll go ahead and do the other side. Lift, shift to the right, drop, and then drop the knees to the left. Look over the right fingertips. Keep the eyes open or closed, it's up to you. Take a few breaths here. The right shoulder is glued to the mat. The knees are heavy off to the left. Relax the muscles in the face. And keep a soft belly so you can feel the twist happening. Breathing in and out through the nose. If your knees are having a hard time staying down, you can use the left hand to push down the knees. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, bring the knees back to center. We're going to bring the pelvis back to center, roll onto our right side. We get up this way to protect the lower back, and come to hands and knees. So coming to hands and knees, we want to make sure that our fingers are spread. I have some tutorials about weight-bearing poses, if you want to go back and check those out. Make sure that the knees are hip-width apart, and we're going to start off with doing the Betalasana pose or cat pose. This keeps the spine supple, and if you don't do any yoga for the rest of your life, or if you do just one yoga pose, let it be this one. As you inhale, you're going to drop the belly towards the mat, lift the sitting bones, lift the chin. And then as you exhale, start with the tailbone, curling it under, rolling the spine, pushing the hands, dropping the head. As you inhale, go back. We're going to do this with the pace of our breath. So take your time. Your breath might be a little slower or faster than mine. Exhale, arch. Inhale, drop. As you're dropping, allow the spine to drop towards the front of the body. You might feel a stretch in the abdomen, a stretch in the hips. Just continue doing this for a few more breaths. You can move around a little bit too. This pose is organic to your body. So if your hips are feeling tight, or your shoulders are tight, go ahead and move them around. You can drop the shoulders. You might get some cracking going, and continue to breathe. Take one more breath here, and then we're going to return to tabletop or neutral spine. And from here, we're going to bring the right leg out behind us. You want to press the top of the left foot on the mat. Make sure that the toes are not curled under, but the tops of the feet are flat. Bring the right leg straight up behind you. Remember flexing the foot so you're kicking out through the heel. And you don't want to have the hips up or down. You want to try to be as even as possible. Left arm comes out straight in front. This looks like it might be easy, but it is a balancing pose. So just do the best you can. Engage the lower belly. Reach out through the fingertips and out through the heel so you feel that pull in the opposite directions. And don't forget to breathe. Take one more breath here. Reaching, pulling. And as you exhale, bring the hand and the knee back down to the mat. And we'll do the other side. Left leg out straight behind you. Right arm out in front of you. If you're looking straight down at your mat, which you should be, you want the neck to be in line with the rest of the spine. You can find a focus point, just one small spot to look at, to focus on. And this will help you balance, using this in your breath. Toes are flexed towards the shin. Take one more breath here. Reach. And as you exhale, bring the hand and the knee back down to the mat. We're going to go into child's pose from here, so widen the knees, bring the big toes together, and have a seat on your heels. Walk the hands forward. Bring the forehead down to the mat or a block. And we're going to take a few breaths here. And as we're lying here, I want you to feel the evenness or the symmetry of the breath in the back of the body. If you press the hands, press the palms into the mat, notice what that does with the shoulders. Allow the pelvis to feel heavy on the heels. Close the eyes and notice the breath. And on your next exhalation, we're going to walk the hands. So lift the torso just a little bit. We want to start getting a stretch in the hip here. Walk the hands off to the right and just go as far as you can and soften towards the mat. This should assist in helping you feel a stretch in the left side of the body. And as you breathe, as you inhale, feel that breath go to the left side of the body, extending it out. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Slow, steady. And on your last exhalation, go ahead and lift. We'll cross the hands over, going to the other side of the mat. Soften down. Breathing here, carrying that breath to the right side of the body. Maybe you feel a stretch, the arm, the side ribs down to the hip. Take one more breath here. Go ahead and lift. And bring the hands back to center. Coming back up to hands and knees, we're going to do one more stretch or twist, warming up the arms before we come up into our down dog. So to do this, we're going to thread the needle. To do it, we're going to put the right hand to the center of the mat. Lift the left arm up for a counter twist, and then slide that left hand under the right, as if you're threading a needle. Bring the left fingertips as far as you can, and then rest your head onto the mat. The right hand can move, so move it where you need to in order to support you for this pose. Take a few breaths here. Allow the lower back to stretch, to relax, to soften. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, slowly come back up to hands and knees, doing the other side. So left hand comes to the center, right arm up as far as you can, and then slide it under. Reach those fingertips as far as you can. Rest the head onto the mat. And you can use the left hand to press to get you into that twist just a little bit deeper. Feel the stretch coming from the right shoulder blade. If you run out of stretch, see if you can bring the fingertips a little bit further. And then find your breath here. Try to keep the hips as even as you can. Remember to soften the lower back. Next exhalation, go ahead and come back up to hands and knees, nice and slow. Good. We're going to come up into our first downward facing dog. I do have a tutorial on this too, so if you need some assistance, or if you're wondering what the heck is going on, go ahead and watch that tutorial and then come back to us. So go ahead, we're starting at hands and knees. We're going to walk our hands one palm length forward. We can always adjust later. This is our first down dog. Our limbs are going to be different sizes, so don't go off of what mine looks like. Go ahead and curl the toes under. Press the hands, spread the fingers, and begin to lift the hip sockets up to the ceiling. You can adjust your feet if you need to. Remember, don't worry about straightening the legs. We're going to press up through the tailbone. Drop the head so the ears are even with the inner arms. And take a couple of breaths here. Feel the energy up to the shoulders. We want to get the weight off the wrists. We're pressing the root of the first fingers into the mat. And then soften the heels down. So they don't have to touch the mat, just soften them towards the mat. We don't want to have, I could definitely bring my heels to the mat, but I would be compromising my spine. We want to have it like a Tadasana or a mountain pose spine, nice and aligned. From here, we're going to go into a three-legged dog, but go ahead and just pedal the feet out for a moment. Since this is our first down dog, let's just kind of get into the movement of the hips, stretching the calves out a little bit, and then go ahead and slow that down. And we'll bring the right leg up into the air, coming into three-legged dog. If your arms get tired, just remember you can go into child's pose at any time. You don't have to stay with the whole sequence here. With your right leg up, open the hips, kick out through the heel. As you exhale, bend that right leg, bring it to the front of the mat, in between the hands. You can drag your foot, you can hop it, you can get here however you want. This is where we might want to use a block or two, bringing it onto either side of the foot. So we're in our low lunge here. We're in a high lunge actually. You can drop your knee. We're going to do a low lunge today. Make sure that the right foot is nice and straight. We want to make sure that it's not out to the side. We're going to be tweaking our knee if we do that. The knee's going to be lined up right over the two toes, the second and the third toe. You can leave the left toes curled under. We're going to drop the hips just a little bit. Stay here for a breath or two. Feel that left hip flexor stretching. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up. And as we exhale, we're bringing the palms together. The left knee is going to come to the outside of the right leg, and we're coming into a twist here. You can look over the right shoulder or the right elbow. Reach out through the crown of the head, soften the hip. Take one more breath here. Press that right foot into the ground. Next exhalation, bring the hands back down. Lift the back knee, send the right leg back, come into downward facing dog again. You can walk the legs out. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So come into your downward facing dog, left leg up, open up those hips a little bit, left foot is flexed. And as you exhale, bring that left foot to the front of the mat. Again, you can use blocks here. Go ahead and drop the back knee. We're going to stay in our lunge here for just a moment. Feel the right hip stretching towards the mat. Press the left foot into the mat. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Bring the palms together as you exhale, twist. Bringing that right knee to the outside of the left, the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Take a couple of breaths here. It's as if you have 4 corners on that left foot helping you balance. Next exhalation, bring the hands back down. Lift the back knee. Send the left leg back. Downward facing dog for just a moment here. And we're going to go ahead and bring the feet to the front of the mat. So go ahead and just walk towards your hands. I'm going to stay sideways here so you can see me. So as we're here in our forward fold, you can also bend your knees here, just like the down dog. We're looking for a nice straight spine. The belly is going to be as close to the thighs as possible. You can use a block or your book if that helps you. But we're going to hang here in ragdoll for just a moment. Let the head drop. Relax the back of the neck. Forward folds are really good for calming down the nervous system. They're good right before you go to bed to help you sleep. You can grab the elbows and just hang the front of the body, even sway it back and forth a little bit. My hamstrings are tight, so I have to bend my knees. If you do not have tight hamstrings and you feel like you can do this forward fold without bending the knees, then go ahead and do that. A lot of you out there are going to be more flexible than I am. Take another breath here. Even if you think you're dangling the neck, kind of check out what the back of the neck is doing and really soften. And then on your next exhalation, bring the hands back down to the mat. We're going to inhale and come halfway up. Reach out through the crown of the head. So you can bring your hands to the shins or the thighs, as long as you're not putting weight on the knees. Draw the shoulder blades together and down. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Bring the palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And now you can stay at the front of your mat. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me just a little bit better. So we're going to stand in Tadasana for just a moment. The feet are parallel. We're spreading our weight evenly throughout the feet. The legs lifting the chest. Draw the shoulder blades together and down. And just kind of come back to your breath for a moment. Now that we're standing, see how your body feels. See if your legs are crying out to you from those lunges. Maybe you feel just fine. Revisit the intention that we set at the beginning of class to stay open-minded. Feel the heart beating. Take one more breath here. We're going to inhale and swoop the arms up. You're going to grab the left wrist with the right hand, and as you exhale, lean to the right. Pressing the left side of the body out, getting a nice side stretch. Don't collapse the chest here. Keep the chest open. Inhale, come back to center. Grab the right wrist. Exhale, lean to the left. Stretching the right side of the body. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, back to center. Arms down to the sides. We're going to come into a wide leg forward bend. And this is really good for strengthening the legs, stretching the legs, stretching the hips and the lower back. If you feel as though you could slide on your carpet or your floor, you might want to come sideways on your mat to have a little bit more gription. But grab your block or your book. You might use it. What you want to do is bring your arms out to the sides, and theoretically we want our ankles under our wrists. That's how wide our stance should be. You can always adjust it later. The important thing here is alignment. It's always the important thing, actually, mostly. We want our toes to be nice and straight, so it might feel as though you're pigeon-toed here. But don't let the feet be out like this. We want the knees to be lined up with the ankles to be lined up with the toes. Put your hands on your hip creases, not your hips. My hips might be up here, yours might be down here. We're gonna always talk about the hip creases or the groins, and I'm always gonna be referring to this crease where the leg and the pelvis area meet. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, keep the upper body nice and straight. Begin to stick the butt out, hinging from the hip creases as you fold forward. The legs are strong. Lift the knees, engage the quads. Feel the sitting bones separating. If your body's saying, I'm stopping here, go ahead and just come down to that block or book. Take a breath wherever your body stops you to kind of revisit what your legs are doing. So strengthen those legs one more time. And then inhale, reaching out through the crown of the head. Exhale, seeing if you can hinge just a little bit more. Maybe now your hands can touch the ground, or stay and breathe where you are. You can begin to drop the head. Maybe feeling that intense stretch in the back of the legs. Make sure you're not rolling out on your feet. Press the inner edges of the feet nice and strong. Press the outer ankle towards the inner ankle so we don't collapse our ankles here. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths. This can be done on a chair or a wall as well. Take one more breath here. You can do it. And as you exhale, go ahead and bring the heels in. So we're pivoting on the ball mounds of the feet, bringing the heels in. We're going to come up into a horse pose here for a moment. I said strengthening and stretching, so here we go with the strengthening part. Press four corners of the feet into the mat. Stick the butt out to protect the lower back. Inhale, swoop the arms up, coming into horse pose. So we're keeping the knees bent. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Keep the knees open. You can do it. We're just taking a couple of breaths here. Breathe out. See if you can go deeper. Draw the shoulder blades together and down. Inhale one more time. And as you exhale, press the feet coming back up to a standing position. You can just kind of dance or walk the feet in. Shake the legs out a little bit. And then you can come back to the front of your mat. We're going to do a couple of warriors here. So come to the front of your mat in Tadasana or mountain pose. Arms are along the sides of the body. Check your feet. Everything is nice and straight and aligned. And then we're going to go ahead and bring that left foot back. Have your blocks handy. You might want your blocks for the warrior. You might not, but just for support in any way. So that left foot is back. Again, the stance is almost always going to be guided by the ankles under the wrists. You can always change it later. So we want to make sure that our pelvis is facing the front of the mat. Press the right foot into the mat, engage the right leg. We're going to be externally rotating the muscles in the legs. So for now, just focus on just having those muscles working. Don't let them be lazy legs, because then we're kind of just hanging out on our tendons, and we don't want to do that. Press the inner edge of the back foot into the mat. Inhale, bring the arms up, bend the right knee. So you should feel the glutes working, this back leg is working. The knee should not go over the ankle, so do a knee check here. And as your legs are nice and grounded, we want to make sure that from the navel up, we're kind of reaching out of the waist. So ribs away from the pelvis. Inhale, reach. Exhale, relax the shoulders, shoulder blades together and down. You can spread the fingers. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, keep the legs exactly where they are and open up your hips off the left side of the mat. So we're coming into warrior two here. A lot of the times our knee has tendency to come in. We want to make sure we keep that open. Coming into warrior two, you can look off the front fingertips. Look behind you, kind of see where your arm is. It might be wonky. We're going to take one more breath here. This can be a very powerful pose if you focus inward, gazing off that index finger. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring the back hand to the back leg. The right arm is going to come up and over, coming into reverse warrior. You can slide the left hand down. Don't straighten the knee, keep the knee bent. One quick breath here, and as you exhale, come forward, grab the elbows behind the back, and bow forward into bowing warrior. Barring warrior. Drop the head. Take a couple of breaths here. On your next exhalation, press the right foot into the mat. Bring yourself back up. And then we're just going to hop forward, or you can walk forward, whatever's easiest. Not whatever's easiest, challenge yourself, but you can come forward. Eventually you might hop, but for now you might just bring your feet together a different way. And shake the legs off a little bit. See, that wasn't so bad. We get to do it on the other side now. All right. I'm going to actually come to this side so you guys can see me better. But you stay exactly where you are on your mat. We brought the left leg back last time, so now we're going to do the right side. So again, we meet in Tadasana. Take a couple of breaths here just to refocus, just to notice what's going on with your legs. This is part of listening to your body. My right leg is saying, are we done yet? Go ahead and bring the right leg back, and I say, no, we're not. So the other important thing in warrior poses is that the way our feet are lined up, the center line of where our feet are on the mat, is going to be heel to heel. So my front heel, if I were to draw a straight line, is matched up right with my back heel. So kind of pay attention to that. The back foot is going to be at about a 45-degree angle. If you have it at a 90-degree angle, I mean, the anatomy of our pelvis on each of us is different, but we are looking to keep the hips in the socket here. So if we have the foot out, it's going to be kind of anatomically weird. So we're not able to bring the hips to the front of the mat if our foot is out. So keep it at a 45-degree angle. Go ahead and bring those hips to the front of the mat. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Exhale, bend the knee, left knee directly over the ankle. Press the inner edge of the back foot into the mat. Feel the glutes engage. Make sure that your quads are not being lazy. Wake them up. Nice active legs here. We're pressing on the ball mount of the big toe and the front foot. This is going to help ground the femur bones into their hip sockets, which you'll hear me talk about a lot. I should do a tutorial on that. Take a couple of breaths here. Remember, the legs are strong, and then the ribs are floating away from the pelvis. Keeping that length in the upper torso, we relax the shoulders and reach out through the fingertips. One more breath here. So breathe in. Reach. As you exhale, open up to warrior two. Legs stay exactly the same. The hips move off the other side of your mat. Check your back hand, check your front hand. Check your knee. Mine went in a little bit, so I need to engage the muscles to open that up. Take one more breath here. Gazing off that index finger. So on your next exhalation, we're going to begin to reverse this. Right hand to the back of the right thigh, left arm up and over. Feel a stretch in the front body. Recheck the knee. Next exhalation, bring the arms forward. Grab the elbows. Hinge forward, coming into bowing warrior. So I could easily get lazy here with my upper torso, but we need to keep the shoulders away from the ears. One more breath. Go ahead and bring the hands back down to the mat. And this time we're gonna hop to the front of the mat in a different way. So just go ahead and bring those legs forward. Shake them off a little bit. Inhale, come halfway up. Shoulder blades together and down, shoulders away from the ears. Neck is nice and long. Exhale, fold forward. Kind of bend the knees and let them rest for a minute. Let the legs rest. Press all four corners of the feet into the mat. Keep the sitting bones nice and separated. Legs are strong, nice straight back to protect the lower back as we come up. Bring the palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. So you can stay exactly where you are. I'm going to do this next pose for you from this angle. It's going to be our first balancing pose, and it's one that you see a lot in yoga. I just want to remind you, for all the balancing poses, your wall can be your friend. Definitely use a wall or a counter or a chair. Anything that will be helpful for you, because most anybody can get into this pose, as long as you know what your options are. So we're going to do tree pose or Vrikshasana. And to start that, we want to come into Tadasana or mountain pose. Begin to shift your weight over to the left side of your body. So with nice straight toes, you want to engage all the muscles in that left leg as if the muscles are just hugging the bones, nice and strong and supporting you. And just feel that hip crease area too. We don't want to be hanging out forward. Some of us stand like this. That is not Tadasana. This is Tadasana. Align spine, ground those femur bones into the hip sockets. So we use our skeleton to balance too, not just the muscles. When you're ready, go ahead and lift the right heel. All you have to do is lift it. And if you find a spot on the floor, a focus point, that will help you. That will help you balance. Your breath will help you balance. And the wall can help you balance. If you feel sturdy here, go ahead and begin to lift that right leg. Now, I don't care how high your leg goes. It can't go on the knee because, for obvious reasons, we don't want to push out our joint. But you can keep your leg right here and just open the knee. And here you are in your tree pose. Or, if you feel you can go higher, go higher. We're using the strength in our legs, not our tendons. So we don't want one of these. We want the outer hip to be pressing in. And anatomically, we're not going to get this knee all the way open. That's not going to work. So your knee's going to be just off to the angle a little bit. Take a few breaths here. And then go ahead and close the knee. Slide the leg down, bring the palms together, hands in front of the heart. Good. I'll do the next side on the wall so you can see what that looks like. So we're going to start the same way, Tadasana. Shift all of the weight to the right side of the body. Make sure your toes are straight. Make sure that right leg is strong. And we don't want to use this as a crutch. We just want to use it for a little bit of help, just in case. Lift the left heel. Find your focus point. Shoulders are away from the ears. Shoulder blades are drawn together and down. Chest is lifted. Begin to bring that left leg up. Open the knee. Check this right hip. Lift the pelvic floor. That's what we're doing. It makes that noise too. And then bring your arm up, or not. Take a couple of breaths here. So the point is to get into these poses and have the same slow, steady breath as we had in the beginning when we were just breathing. It'll happen. Next exhalation, close the knee. Bring the leg down, hands together in front of the heart. Good. If you were by the wall, come back to your mat. We're going to come down into a squat. So coming into a squat, don't worry, you don't need to have your heels touching the ground, but if they do, that's ideal. And you can use a block to sit on. Bring your hands together, and then the elbows are going to be opening the knees. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths here as we bring it back down to the mat. I actually have a lot of students that can have their feet flat on the mat, which is surprising for adults because we usually lose that from sitting in chairs for so long. We are not a squatting culture, so our hips get tight. Take one more breath here and then we'll have a seat. Go ahead and bring the hands behind you. Move your support out of the way. And then we're going to come into a twist. So I'll be facing you so you can get a better angle of this. We're going to have the right heel, the inside of the thigh. Take the left foot to the outside of the right knee. You with me? Left fingertips behind you. Right arm up and over. Bringing the elbow to the outside of the left knee. So you might begin to feel the twist here. Inhale, lift the chest. It's important to lift before you exhale, going into the twist. You can look over the left shoulder. Maybe you're just right here and that's fine. Try to get the straightest, longest spine you can, reaching out through the crown of the head. And then find your breath. Try not to have this foot all the way up. We want to try to press that foot. And if being right here is enough of a stretch for you, then just stay right there. That's completely okay. Take one more breath. Inhale, lengthen one more time. Exhale, soften. Feel the twisting in the lower back, stretching those muscles. And on your next exhalation, slowly come back to center. Take this left leg and stretch it out. So this might be anytime we're on the floor, if you feel as if you have bad posture, you round the back while you're sitting, just go ahead and put something under the sitting bones that helps tilt the pelvis. And that's what brings the spine to its natural shape. So we're just gonna go ahead and do a quick hamstring stretch here. Inhale, lift through the crown of the head. Exhale, grab the outside of the left leg. It could be here, on the outside of the thigh, knee, calf, wherever your range of motion is. I promise I won't be giving you any treats for your nose touching your knee or anything like that. We all have different bodies and they're all good. Inhale, lengthen one more time. Exhale, soften. Take one more breath here. Keep the left foot flexed, pushing out through the ball mound of the big toe. This keeps the femur grounded, like I was talking about before. We want to use our skeleton as our core, not just our stomach muscles, and definitely not our ligaments and tendons. We want to use all the muscles and stack the bones properly. On your next exhalation, go ahead and slowly come up. Bring that left leg in, right leg out. We're going to stretch this side before we do our twist on the other side. So bring the left heel to the inner thigh. Pull that meat away from your sitting bones to help you out a little bit, to tilt the pelvis. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, hinge forward over the leg. So don't round the back. We have a tendency to do that, but I think that's usually our ego getting in the way. We don't need to be down here. What we need is to stretch the muscles properly, and then eventually we might get down there, maybe this lifetime, who knows. I've been doing this a long time and my hamstrings are still tight all the time. By grabbing the outside of the leg, that gives us another twist too. You might feel the body twisting a little bit. Inhale, lengthen one more time. Exhale, soften. Foot is flexed. Plus we're forcing muscles to work sometimes that have been lazy up to this point, honestly. My hamstrings work for my quads, so I've had to train my quadriceps to work. Your job. And then my hamstrings can relax and not be so tight. Go ahead and soften and come up. Take away the blankets. Keep this left heel to the inner thigh. Take the right foot, bring it over the left knee, outside of the left knee. Right fingertips behind you for support. Left arm comes up and over. We're going to press the elbow into the knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Look over the right shoulder if you can. If you can't, no big deal. Take a couple of breaths here. Maybe inhaling one more time. Exhaling, going deeper into the twist. And on your next exhalation, slowly come back to center. Good. We're going to go ahead and come down to our back and do a couple of stretches, one more twist, and then we'll go into our Shavasana, or relaxation. And I'll explain why that is super important after a practice, any practice, especially one that's this long. So go ahead and lie on your back, have a box here. I'm not used to teaching yoga with a plastic box on my back, but it's okay. Hug the knees, lift the butt a little bit. So if I look funny when I'm rocking, that's why. We want to make sure that we stretch the lower back. So lift the butt, bring the knees up to the chest, and then go ahead and rock a little bit back and forth, massaging the spine onto the mat. Just starting to wind down. And then you can do circles with the hips, so put the hands on the knees and do circles going clockwise. Just keeping the joints oily here. The more we use them, the more lubrication they get. We don't get dried out and arthritis and things like that. So this kind of little stuff is really important. Go ahead and do it in the other direction. Just draw big circles on the ceiling with your knees. And then come back to center. Bring the feet back down. We're going to cross the right leg over the left, just like we're sitting in a chair, crossing the right leg on top of the left, and then we're going to drop the knees. One more time, come into this twist. In this twist, you might feel more of a stretch in the right arm because we want to keep that right shoulder heavy to the mat. Palms facing up. You can look over the right fingertips if that's okay for your neck. I know necks can be pretty sensitive for some people, so really listen. So only if it's okay for you. Let's take 2 more good breaths here. Keep the belly soft. Tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And as you exhale, come back to center. Uncross the legs, do the other side, left over right. Go ahead and drop. Heavy left shoulder, look over the left fingertips, maybe. Feel a nice stretch in the hips, or just notice where you're feeling it. This is part of reading your body and where you learn that you're tight or loose or just fine. One more breath. Come back to center. You can hug the knees one more time just to stretch the spine out. And then drop the feet nice and hard. Straighten the legs. Bring your arms up over your head and take a nice long stretch. You can circle the ankles, circle the wrists. You guys did an amazing job. And then we're going to get ready for our 5-minute Shavasana. So stay lying on your back. Shouldn't move yet. And to be in Shavasana, which is technically a pose, it's not just adult nap time. We're going to keep the palms facing the ceiling about 6 inches away from the body. Be sure the shoulder blades are nice and flat. We don't want the chin to be high. We want it to be just like a Tadasana neck. So chin is a little bit lower than the forehead. Here's where your blanket might come in handy. If you have tight neck muscles, you might need to elevate a little bit in order to get that chin a little bit lower than the forehead. And then from here, we're going to widen the feet and just let the feet hang out to the sides. So Shavasana is just a time where we breathe without forcing the breath. We observe what the body feels like. We observe what's even, what's uneven, how our body feels after practice. And it's a time, Shavasana or corpse pose, corpse means die or death. So it's a way for any old ideas, or it's an opportunity for old ideas to kind of die away. and just leave them in the grave of Shavasana as you wake up to something new and learning something new. So I will let you lie here in your Shavasana. Thanks for practicing with me.